Hi guys, I think we're waiting for Ms. Jumur to join us.
Hi, Rohit.
Hi Jumur, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. We're finally live. Hello,
Finally,
everyone. Thank
guys.
you for joining us. We're live right now. I'm Jumur Ghosh, editor-in-chief housing.com news, and I'm in conversation today with Rohit Gera, who's the MD of Gera Development. Rohit, great to chat up with you.
A pleasure as always, Jumur.
Yeah. So I'm going to, before we get down to the audience questions, because we received a lot of questions and we're going to try to cover as much ground as possible. I
Sure.
want to talk to you about the Pune report. Now, I have been covering the sector for a long time. You have been doing this report for a couple of years now. And I can safely say that I'm not aware of too many developers who come up with a market research report like this. So, can you please explain the rationale? Why are you coming out with this report? How do you think it will benefit the consumers in your market?
So, Jumur, that's a great starting question, right? So we've been actually doing this now for 7 or 8 years, in fact, right? And the rationale for doing it was, I think the real estate sector historically has functioned so much as a herd mentality. You hear one developer is doing luxury, the margin seems good, everybody kind of jumps in, chases in, right? And
Yeah,
world over, there is
yeah,
so much data around housing. In fact, housing starts in the US are actually the barometer for the US economy,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So when we started gathering the data, one of the motivating factors for us to share the information was that let's get developers to also understand because we share this data even with Credai Pune and so on. The idea is to share the data so that people have knowledge and information and we don't follow a herd mentality. If we see that there's oversupply coming up in an area, we can cut back our supply because at the end of the day, a volatile market isn't good for developers, it isn't good for the financial institutions, and it certainly isn't good for the consumer.
yeah.
Now, we've been producing this report for 8 or 9 years, and I like to believe that we have a small part in because we've been sharing this data. Pune has
Yeah.
been amongst the least volatile markets in the country.
Yeah.
So I think if developers, if consumers have access to information, it
Yeah.
makes decision taking logical, thought through, and eliminate volatility for everyone, which I think is great. So that was the kind of motivating factor for us to share all this very valuable information for free.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think this whole information opaqueness in the sector, I think it's something that, we've spoken about in the past. And one of the things that worked against the sector was precisely this, that there isn't enough transparent data in the market. And,
Yes,
we've discussed this in the past as well, consumers, they just want to make an informed decision. And all
yes,
that they need to make that informed decision is, good, solid, transparent, research-based data, which is exactly what your report is coming up with. So I'm going
that's
to, take up a few questions, which I think your report data will help, answer our audience questions. So Alex is asking that what are the factors that you think will become much more important to Pune buyers based on the current COVID environment? What information will be critical in the buying decision? What advice would you like to give it,
yeah.
Alex?
What a fabulous first audience question, right? Um, I think I was reading something recently, and I think it's so true that the COVID problem has actually companies that were poised to do well have
Yeah,
done phenomenally well. Look at Amazon and the likes of those, right? And
yeah,
companies that were already doing badly have done
yeah,
really bad. First, the industries. Okay, so
yeah,
industries on the up have gone up further. Industries on the down have gone down further.
yeah, yeah,
Within industries, companies that were doing well are going to outperform, and companies that were doing badly are going to meet their demise much sooner.
yeah,
So, COVID has been a tremendous accelerator. Just think in our own lives, the amount of increase in use of digital, and what we've done in 3 months is probably equivalent to 10 years of absorption of digital, for example.
Yeah.
So I think what's going to happen because of COVID is a lot of developers who are well poised uh, and who have done well and who've
Yeah.
delivered to the customer and who've kept the customer at the center and
Yeah.
been fiscally disciplined
Yeah.
will see a lion's share of the market switch to them.
Yeah.
Right? Those who've been stretched and had to stop their work are going to find it very, very hard to get their projects restarted.
Yeah.
Now, in this situation, the most important thing for a customer is please, for God's sake, check that there is work going on the construction site.
Yeah.
Two, please check what percentage of the project has actually been sold.
Yeah.
Right? If the project has enough sales, then RERA makes sure that the money goes to the project.
Yeah.
Because the big risk that a lot of consumers are facing today with developers is you may pay money and you'll get some fancy discount, you'll pay the money, but the money gets used for some other project, for some other outstandings, for some other debt, contractors, loans, and so on. That's going to be the biggest issue for consumers looking forward, I think.
Yes.
So please make sure, A, that there's adequate sales in the project, B, that there's adequate work going on in the project, and check the track record of the developer.
Yeah.
Talk to some customers, see what their feedback is, see the testimonials, look at the number of projects they've delivered.
Yeah.
Right? Because RERA certainly takes care of certain aspects.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ultimately, a developer, people like us who've been delivering even before RERA, you're driven based on your core values. Right? So please look for a developer that has those right core values that resonate with delivery to the customer.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
This
most important advice today. Sorry, please go ahead.
As a matter of fact, when we look at all the IBC cases today, some really big names have gone into insolvency. And if you speak to the buyers, they're not looking to punish the builder legally. All that they want is, I want my house. I don't care whether you get punished or not, So that's exactly the point, it's prevention is better than cure. It's essentially what you just said, that invest in a builder where you know that it's a safe bet rather than just going blindly for a discount and then you are regretting it later. There's one more question where I think your research data would come in handy. Somebody is asking any tips on which are the pockets in Pune that will make for a good purchase. So since yours is a micro location based, so can you make some recommendations that which micro locations in Pune are a safe bet right now?
Here's what I would say on that, right? I am speaking as the MD of our company, right? But for me, and we've got data which is available out there. So for me to pitch something, which as it happens, we use the data ourselves to decide where we want to do our project. So just by through that process, my projects are in those locations. So I put that as a caveat to start. But we look at when we want to do a project, right? Look at the markets where there is going to be job creation. Yes. Okay. Now, for example, in Kharadi, we are doing Gera Commerce Zone, right? Yeah. Our own project is going to generate 30 or 40,000 jobs.
Wow.
So what we are therefore saying is that to us, what we firmly believe is that with that many jobs in that market, there's going to be a need for housing in that market.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Kharadi Wagholi is going to develop because there's jobs being created. If you look at on the west side, there's Hinjewadi.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's new IT parks coming up there as new space created.
Yeah.
Right. In the medium term, those will get occupied. There may be a little bit of COVID impact, but if those rents come crashing down, frankly, it doesn't make a difference to a home buyer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If commercial rents come down, well, it becomes more attractive for foreign companies or for tenants to come in.
Yeah.
So please look at the micro markets where there is job creation.
Yeah.
Right?
As a matter of fact, this is a question. It's interesting you mentioned Hinjewadi. So one person has asked a question specifically. Siddharth Desai is asking, what is the future of Hinjewadi area? What is the rent going on? I want to know property rent and what can I expect from Gera's Adara project? So, I clubbed it because we were already speaking about Hinjewadi. So what do we want to tell Siddharth?
So look, rents run roughly 18 to 20,000 roughly for a two-bedroom, right?
Okay.
Um, we are certainly expecting a higher rent for Adara.
Okay.
Part of the reason is just the design. These homes
Okay.
are designed with a double height portion in the living room.
All right.
Okay. These areas in some apartments are actually converted into like a little study room and so on, right?
Okay.
So it's a bedroom with a study area. Now that study area with this whole COVID situation provides a lot of value because it's a nice 10 by 12 space,
Yeah.
okay, which is kind of segregated. So you could be in your study, right?
Yeah.
You have kids in the bedrooms or in the living room, and
Yeah.
and so, it's got light, it's got ventilation. So I think for some of these reasons,
Mm.
apartments in Adara will probably see a better rentability.
All right.
So we expect that you should get a 10% premium to the market for a typical two-bedroom for that location,
Wow.
just because of the smartness of design.
Okay.
The
Okay.
other aspect, of course, is it's a single building. It has the club, it has the facilities. It's been developed, by us,
Yeah.
and also, we've been doing the 5-year warranty, which we offer all the way up to
Yeah.
7 years now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That gets implemented, over an app. So my customers
Yeah.
today can raise warranty issues on the mobile app itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that also then becomes applicable for a tenant.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, a tenant also moving into a new home, for
Yeah.
those teething troubles, we are, 3 photographs or an upload of an issue away,
Okay.
for the issues of the customer to be taken care of.
Yeah.
So I think there's a number of reasons. Even tenants today prefer
Yeah.
going to a reputed developer because they know that there's no quality hassles. If
Yeah.
something is needed, it'll be taken care of.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
tenants are becoming discerning now. And
Yeah.
certainly, like I said, Adara has this additional feature in the design,
Okay.
which I have to say, we didn't plan this with anything COVID, because this was planned a few
Yeah,
years
I
ago.
was about to ask you that because it looks like you preempted it. Yeah.
No, we're not that good with our future predictions.
Okay.
But it does have that opportunity. So I think those are the reasons why I think Adara should get rented pretty quickly, and there should be a premium. I have to say,
Okay.
like what we've done with our child-centric homes
Yeah.
in Kharadi, for example, right?
Yeah.
And since we're
Yeah.
talking about child-centric homes get an even higher premium to market, just because of the sheer value that we
Yeah.
offer to occupiers, and whether the occupiers are owners or their tenants.
Yeah. Yeah.
So imagine, and I'll just take a minute on this on child-centric, right? So imagine if you're moving from out of town and you need to rent a property and you've got kids.
Yeah.
So, in the US, they did research, and they said after untimely death and divorce, the third most stressful thing for people is moving home.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that gets even more significant when you've got children. Where do you
Yeah.
enroll them in classes, making friends for them, all of that. And child-centric
Yeah.
homes then offer the opportunity for kids
Yeah.
to get absorbed so easily that
Yeah.
we found that we've got like a 98% or 96% occupancy rate in those projects,
Yeah.
and the rents are at a premium to market.
Yeah. Do you think as a segment, I mean, this is not any question, it's a question from me actually. As a segment, do you think developers have exploited the potential of child-centric homes enough, or do you think it's still, developers haven't woken up, to the potential of the segment? What do you think?
No, I think child-centric for us, so here's the way we look at child-centric homes, right? It isn't. So historically, housing was divided mostly socio-economically. You have
Yeah.
affordable housing, you have luxury housing, and so on and so forth. So it's
Yeah.
socio-economic, right?
Yeah.
This is and before this, the only other segmentation was senior citizen housing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Student housing was much more on the rental side.
Yeah.
So there's been no real specialization
Yeah.
in product in real estate since pretty much housing started. So
Yeah.
when we started with child-centric homes, we realized that this has got to be treated as a new product.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're going to do homes and you're going to give a pool and a clubhouse and a tennis court, well,
Yeah.
developers have been doing that all along anyway.
Yeah.
Right? But if you want to engage yourself, you want to actually be a part of the development. You want to make sure that those academies are running, that
Yeah.
they're running well, that kids are getting value. Then as a developer, you're not just committing yourself to give the keys and walk away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we pride ourselves, I mean, 15 years or so, we've had the 5-year warranty. So we prided ourselves with staying with our customers for at least those 5 years. So for us, once we were in there, it was really simple for us to say, okay, we're already in there for 5 years with the warranty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's extend our capability in what we're doing to make sure that we create a fabulous experience.
Yeah.
And
So,
then
you
that's
know,
what we do. So I don't see too many other developers
yeah. Yeah.
looking at viewing child-centric as a new product line, and
Yeah.
only to embrace it in that manner will we
Yeah.
see others doing child-centric projects. Otherwise, they just use our trademark,
Yeah.
and then there's litigation around that. But otherwise, developers uh, haven't really embraced child-centric the way it should be. And I
Yeah.
personally believe that there's such an opportunity across this country for this product.
Yeah. You know, there's one more project of yours that I'd like to move on to because we've received quite a few questions around it. So this is the World of Joy product. So Rohit Pathak asks that I'm a flat buyer in your World of Joy at Upper Kharadi. Could assistance plan be offered to customers? That would be really appreciated. My question is, when can we expect construction work to return at full swing? And I realize that at present is mainly focused on row houses. Also, will the current situation delay the overall possession? It's not just Rohit, we have a couple of other people. So they're essentially asking about, possession timelines. So what
Sure.
would you tell them?
Let me respond to that, right? So the first one is, thank you for recognizing. Actually, what he's talking about is the COVID
Yeah.
assistance program, and what we did for our customers is, from we stopped raising new invoices from mid-May, once the construction could commence, all the way to 30th of June. So we said no new invoices because of the COVID problem. Let's get over it. Then we'll
Yeah.
send you bills, right? So we are capitalized enough to be able to do that. So we did that. Then we said if anybody has outstanding amounts prior to 15th of March, and if you're facing a challenge, come to us, right?
Yeah.
We will just defer your due date to 1st of July.
Yeah.
Okay? So we did that. And the third thing, most valuable for people, we said, listen, if you have money paid to us, even if it is as per the billing milestone, okay,
Yeah.
if you need some money back from us, you have given us the money. If you want some of your money back, we are happy to return it to you when you generate it again. Come back and give it back to us.
Yeah.
Okay, so we did this, and we've got such an outpouring of positivity as a result of this effort of ours, right? So we did that. Now, in terms of the sporadic stop-start, the biggest challenge that we're facing is the migrant labor went away.
Yeah.
We're working very hard to motivate them to come back.
Yeah.
So, and we've got two types of contraction. And one part of the project, we have labor contractors.
Okay.
They have sort of closer local labor, and therefore those are being used on the low-rise component, which is why we see a little bit more activity there. The high-rise component, because it's much larger, it's bulkier. We've got contractors who've got projects who's got their workers from other parts of the country.
Okay.
So they're having a challenge bringing them back.
Yeah.
But we are told that we are currently at about 60%, 50 to 60% of the workforce back.
Already? That's quite
Yes.
fast. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
So my contractors have worked really hard to try and bring the people back. Where the problem comes up is if we get, the construction is such an activity that you need people for different tasks,
Yeah.
right? And the way the country has evolved is different people come from different regions. So if 20 people from one village who are carpenters go back, right?
Yeah.
People who do the other work can't do anything because carpenters are an integral part of the process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So even though we have 50-60% of the people back, some of the critical people are not yet back, so which is why things are slow.
Okay.
We have assurances from our contractors that through the month of August, we should be at about 75%, and some of those critical people will be back.
All right.
Okay, and therefore we hope to get things going as fast as possible.
All right.
Let me state something unequivocally here. The kind of response that we got from our customers for World of Joy is unprecedented for us and for this market. And now every time we make progress and the customers pay us,
Yeah.
we generate surplus funds. So it's entirely in my interest to accelerate the construction and give people their funds as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Because that reduces our ongoing overheads and so on.
Yeah.
So my objectives and my customers' objectives are now 100% aligned.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're leaving no stone unturned to bring
Yeah.
customers back, to bring our to bring our contractors, workers back as fast as
Right.
possible,
Yeah.
so that we can complete it as fast as we can. As of
Yeah.
now, we don't have a clear handle on the delay. We will work very hard to even do double shifts where possible to
Yeah.
recover the lost time. We always
Yeah.
have some cushions and some buffers.
Yeah.
Uh, as of now, we are still working with the original schedule.
Okay.
My is in talks with our contractors to come up with recovery plans,
Okay.
right? Incentivized recovery plans, accelerated recovery plans. So we are in that mode.
Okay.
Therefore, I am not giving my people even one day of leeway. I am saying we have to catch up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we're going for. That's what we're gunning for. I think, in the next 2 or 3 months, maybe by Diwali, when we have a much better handle, we'll have the detailed schedule and I'll be able to say, okay, this is the exact date when we'll have things done. But I'm
Yeah.
very, very hopeful and positive that we stick to our original dates.
All right. We've been talking about projects, Pune market. Actually, there's a industry-based question that's come up, and I find it very interesting. So I'd like us to take it. So Kuldeep Chawla from Purvankara, he asks that what do developers need to do that they have never done before to emerge stronger from this crisis? I think this is anybody in the industry, would sort of like your insight on this. So what do you think that developers, how should they be handling this?
So
Crisis.
I don't know if I can add any value to Kuldeep. I mean, I know him and he's a really smart guy.
I know.
Thank you, Kuldeep, if you're watching. But listen, what I think? What I think is the biggest. There's two major things, right? Like I said earlier, COVID has accelerated things
Yeah.
substantially,
Yeah.
right? Now look at this acceleration in a situation where an industry for 40, 50 years, mistakes and errors were accepted and accommodated.
Yeah.
Okay? We were forgiven for all kinds of things. And I'll tell you what I mean. If your project is delayed, you are forgiven.
Yeah.
If the quality is not great, you're forgiven.
Yeah.
Okay? If you give thoda kam zyada on the specifications, you're forgiven. Okay? Your FSI is little aage piche, you're forgiven. Right? You're not able to repay your debt, you roll over to another financial institution, you're forgiven.
Yeah.
Okay? So you're forgiven on DC rules. Previously, if your environment approvals little aage piche, you're forgiven.
Yeah.
Okay? So this was a highly forgiving industry. Suddenly, if you look at it, everything which I stated has not just become less forgiving, it has become unforgiving.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You make a mess with your customer, you go to RERA, there's fences there. Okay? Consumer courts are also against you. The judiciary is also taking cognizance of the misdeeds that are done by developers. The rolling over and evergreening of loans based on the ILFS problem, no longer possible. Right? The industry has been screaming and crying and pleading for rollovers of debt. Okay? RBI, government not relenting. Again, no forgiveness out there either.
Yeah.
Right? The environment, you can't mess around anymore. Right? The fines, the actions that the government is taking, the Green Tribunal is taking, unforgiving.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You do any construction without approval, unforgiving.
Yeah.
So a forgiving industry has become unforgiving. So what should developers do in this situation? You have to be extremely conservative. You have to line up your capital. You have to get your product right. You can't mess around anymore. Listen, previously you built any product anywhere. Gera's got a 2-bedroom which are 1100 square feet doing very well. Chalo, we'll all do that.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Gera can do child-centric because of their capability that they built. Others cannot necessarily do it. So you will not be forgiven if you make that mistake.
Yeah.
So you have to know your product. You have to know your customer. You have to know your finances.
Yeah.
Right? You have to know construction. You have to know delivery. You have to know quality.
And you have to play to your strength. I remember at one point, IT Park, because the government is giving a lot of incentives, and hardcore residential developers, they just like jumped into the fray. they tried making IT parks. Those are nothing like IT parks. Even today, after so many years, they are lying vacant and they're just trying to juggle it around and create gala shops out of it. The point is, that is not your forte. You make luxury housing. You
Yeah.
are not into IT parks. So yeah, that herd mentality that you spoke about, I think that has really been, that has cost our sector quite heavy.
I think differentiation is going to be critical.
Yeah.
You look at commoditized projects. If you remove builder A's logo from a project, okay, and you put builder B's name and logo there, we are all in a sea of sameness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And customers are looking for innovation. They're looking for different stuff, right? Look at our Adara design. What a
Yeah.
phenomenal response we got. But we came up with a compact apartment, but in a duplex concept, the feeling of space, people just love it,
Yeah.
right? People want their imagination to be, they want to be excited,
Yeah.
right? So you do child centric as a product with deep research.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We did focus group discussions, we did all kinds of research, and then we came up with a product which was catered to the market. So
Yeah.
suddenly, this has become a specialized business.
Yeah.
If you want to be a specialist player, join this business. If you're going to do let's throw something at the wall and it will stick onto the wall, those days are gone.
Yeah.
So I
So
think it's expertise, capability, financial management. Now it is a real business for real, well-capitalized players
yeah.
to be in the business, and there's lots of demand.
Yeah.
Right? But you have to know your game. You have to know the rules.
Yeah.
You have to know things in order to compete in this marketplace. It is an unforgiving business now.
Yeah. And I think in a sense, like you said, in the long run, that's good for the developers and it's good for the consumers. It's like consolidation happening at a much accelerated pace, but that consolidation was much required in the sector.
Absolutely, absolutely. The consolidation is needed. You also what happens is when developers are doing more projects, you have economies of scale coming in.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Some of those benefits can then get passed on to the customer.
Yeah.
So there's some of these things. The projects get larger. You do much better management of the facilities and so on. So I think these shifts are happening, and I think that they are here to stay. And COVID accelerated the good to become larger,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
bad to become smaller and extinct much faster.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to come back to the Pune market now because that's our topic. So we have a couple of other questions. So somebody is asking that are homes being sold at all in Pune during the pandemic? I'm okay to reserve for a home, but I'm unsure if I'm to buy. So what would you like to? As a matter of fact, in correlation, we've also received a couple of questions predictably around, will prices, come down in the Pune market. So what do we want to tell them? Where's the Pune market at right now?
So look, I think the Pune market has seen a slow downward drift for the last 4 to 5 years. And if we look at that in the context of our costs have continued to rise. Okay, the government came up with GST, right? Forced developers to say you cannot profiteer from GST. Your lower cost you must pass onto the consumers. Okay, forced developers to do all of these things, and thereafter went and said, okay, now no more GST on the consumer, and developers have to bear the cost. Developers have to bear the cost of the GST. Okay, when you add that cost to the other inflation, I don't believe that there is too much room and opportunity for developers to bring prices down.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't think that there is too much hope and scope, right? Because there's also the other aspect which is happening right now because of new supply has gone down dramatically. If you look at sales have started, but there's no new projects that have been launched.
Yeah.
Right? So the launch of new projects will be at a huge lag to the demand pickup that we expect.
Yeah.
Now, that means you're going to see a demand-supply mismatch, where demand is going to outstrip supply, and we're already seeing some of that in the numbers in our latest report, right?
Yeah.
So percentage of unsold inventory is like down to a 5-year low now.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't anticipate prices coming down.
Okay.
Okay. My advice to anybody looking at buying today is, if
Yeah.
you're looking at, please first and foremost, buy from a safe developer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If prices are coming down with somebody who's in distress, okay,
Yeah.
and you're getting a 20%, 30% discount, here's my
Yeah.
advice to you. Even if you have to pay only 20, 30%, which is a 70 or 80% discount,
Yeah.
don't waste your 20 or 30%, because the deeper the discount, the bigger the distress in the developer.
Yeah.
Why is he going? Why
Yeah.
does he want to sell it to you cheap?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
no relative of yours. The developer's in the business to make a profit. He sells it cheap because he needs the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why does he need the money is what you need to ascertain. If it is going elsewhere,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
you're never getting your home. Please, please, please
Yeah.
be cautious about that. And here's the other thing which I like to say, right? Anybody who wants to buy a home wants to see the prices drop, and anybody who's just bought a home wants to see the prices go up,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So who you're asking what's going to happen, they also tells you what the answer is going to be.
Yeah, yeah. There's one more question where, people are asking you for advice that in the current market condition, what is a better bet? Should they be opting for under construction projects, or should they be ready to move in homes? Now, this is also a very important question. So, what advice will you give them in the current scenario?
So let me take this at two levels, right? One
Okay.
is, there was an expectation that, because of Gera, right, and all the issues, under construction homes will sell very little, and the sales will move towards ready possession.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
but our data over the last, I think 3, 4, 5 years,
yeah,
even post the RERA coming in, the
yeah,
unsold inventory in the ready state has been
yeah,
reasonably stable,
yeah,
because otherwise the unsold at ready state should come crashing down.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
it's been steady at 7 to 9 thousand units in the ready possession, right? So we
yeah,
haven't seen this big switch.
yeah,
What we have seen is the switch has happened to reputed developers. People are looking at under construction homes, right?
yeah,
And if you're getting something from somebody not reputed, the product is there, it's finished, it's got the OC, it takes care of your
yeah,
needs. People are buying
yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah,
right? So I think there is a very strong reason why people buy under construction homes.
yeah.
It reduces your financial burden. So you
True.
take a loan today based on your current salary. In the
Yeah,
first year, you pay your pre-EMIs, right?
yeah,
Or developers do some kind of a scheme.
yeah,
So you're buying something which is going to be ready 2 to 3 years from now. Your
yeah,
burden is reduced for the first year or two.
yeah,
Hopefully, in those 2 years or 3 years, you've gone through two salary increment cycles,
yeah, yeah,
by which time you've got greater disposable income, at which time your money that you pay for your EMI is much
yeah,
more affordable,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So this is a huge motivating factor for people who want to buy under construction home.
yeah,
Also, you get the location. There is also a trend that prices generally tend to rise within a project.
yeah,
It's not hard and fast. If it's a project that does well, it rises for sure. If it's a
yeah,
project which is languishing, then it doesn't necessarily rise. We've seen
yeah,
price rises in residential, commercial, because people have, come and appreciated the product and bought with us.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, so it goes case to case, it goes situation to situation. So there is a tremendous decoupling that's happening between the
yeah,
reputed and the not reputed, between the performers and the non-performers,
yeah, yeah,
and therefore with all of these factors between ready and under construction. So it
yeah,
depends on your appetite.
yeah,
Okay, make no mistake. If you go for under construction homes, there are benefits, but
yeah,
whoever the developer, there is a slight risk in very good developers, and there is a greater risk in bad developers.
yeah,
Now, it depends on your appetite for risk. If you want complete safety, peace of mind, buy a ready property,
yeah,
but you're going to pay a little premium,
yeah,
right? If you want to get the benefit of selecting your home, paying over time,
yeah,
getting
yeah,
some of those benefits, get the developer to pay part of that through a scheme of some sort,
yeah,
it comes with a little bit of risk.
yeah,
So it really depends on the individual situation and circumstance.
exactly. Yeah,
Please take an informed decision which
yeah,
works for you individually.
yeah, yeah. There's one more question. somebody has asked that, what do you think about home finance rates? Are you expecting them to go down further? So that's again a very interesting question. What do you think? Will it go down further? Well, you're already smiling. So let's hear what you have to say.
Well, I'm smiling because I want them to go down further,
But
right?
you don't think it will.
No, but I'll tell you what I think will happen, right? I
Okay.
think there is a little bit of room, because if you look at what the RBI has done so far and the
Yeah.
transmission that the banks and financial institutions have done,
Yeah.
there is a little bit of a room for the rates to come down.
Okay.
Um, I think this is waiting for the dust to settle,
Yeah.
because the real estate, lending is completely based on, any lending is based on risk, right?
Yeah.
So the higher the risk, the higher the lending rates.
Yeah.
Right now, the real estate sector has a lot of risk associated with it.
Yeah.
So I think financial institutions are taking a wait and watch approach, and therefore factoring in that risk.
Yeah.
So I do think that we will see, 25, 50 basis points reduction. This is my own prediction,
Okay.
right? I do think that we should see something in that direction.
Okay.
The question is the timing, but we are, increasingly, I think banks are starting to push, and RBI is starting to push banks to
Yeah.
transmit the rate reductions much faster than they've been doing so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even if you wait for a rate reduction, and let's say it happens after 3 or 4 months, right?
Yeah.
And you're buying under construction, the differential in the pre-EMI at the early stage is so little
Yeah.
that you're better off getting locked in your property, and it doesn't matter if your interest rate reduction happens 3 or 6 months later.
Yeah.
The benefit of that is going to accrue to you for the remaining of your period.
Yeah.
So yes, I want them to come down. I believe they will come down, right? But the other thing, and which I've been trying to push, and maybe this is for your ears, and if we have some people in the financial institutions kind of listening or watching this, I think it's about time that the financial institutions came up with a differential interest rate for home borrowers, for those who are going to a developer who's got financial closure, who says, listen,
Exactly. Yes.
I've got this many sales, I've got my construction line in place, so this project will not get stuck for want of money.
Yeah.
So if the project will not get stuck for want of money, it is a lesser risk to the home buyer, and it is a lesser risk to the financial institution.
Absolutely. Yes.
And if there's a lesser risk to the financial institution, then why do they not give that home buyer
Yeah.
a 25 basis points reduction in his mortgage rate?
True.
So
True.
you see, if we do this, we will automatically, the financial institutions will drive the industry to financial closure.
Yeah.
And financial closure is so important to make sure that a project gets completed without falling short of money.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so, that's just an aside, and it's something which I personally believe very strongly in, and I'm pushing it every possible opportunity. So I took the chance here as well.
Yeah. So, Rohit, I think we've got time for just one last question. So, we have a couple of questions where people are asking your assessment about the near to mid future for the Pune market. What do you think is going to happen in the market, and what kind of returns do you think buyers in the Pune market, can expect? So, what is your assessment? What's going to happen in the near future?
So my anticipation in the near future is, I think we will see some additional distress for many of the developers, because the financial institutions are not going to roll over debt.
Yeah.
Okay. And if they do roll over debt, I think something will come around only for net worth positive projects. So I think there will be a sector of them which will face more challenge.
Yeah.
I look at new supply coming down substantially.
Yeah.
I look at consumers coming in to buy, and I look at consumers coming in to buy because a lot of people who are tenants have been treated really poorly in housing societies where they've rented.
Yeah.
They're all feeling the need to buy. So I think the demand will come back. I think people are a little bit uncertain about jobs, and as companies come to terms with COVID and the job uncertainty goes away, people will pull. So here's what happens. It's interesting. If there is a risk for 5% people losing their jobs in a company, 95% of the people are uncertain, because you don't know which number aayega, right?
Yeah.
The moment that 5% goes out, the remaining 95%, all of them are now safe and secure.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that uncertainty is going to end.
Okay.
Okay. Already, if you look at the opening up of the economy and stuff, things are starting to open up. Unfortunately, Pune's been worse hit, so we'll see
Yeah.
opening up a little bit slower. But
Yeah.
like other parts of the country, I'm sure we will see opening up. There'll be certain things
Yeah.
will be a new normal,
Yeah.
right? As a race, we are extremely resilient.
Yeah.
So I think, we'll see less supply, demand will come back. We'll see some developers getting stressed.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna actually stick my neck out and say it's a really good time to buy. Historically, as a family, we have never advised people to buy with us or otherwise, saying that look, the prices are going to rise. Because here's
Okay.
my question.
Yeah.
Okay, I have no answer if I tell somebody, listen, you should buy, it's a great time, and if he turns around and says, Rohit, why are you selling then?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So look, we're in the business to sell.
Yeah.
Okay, so my disclosures must come up front.
Yeah.
So I've stuck my neck out and telling you what I think will happen, but
Okay.
I'm also giving you the disclaimer that look, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a developer. So
Yeah.
please take what I say, do your own homework and research. It's really
Absolutely.
important, but this is my personal view.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your candid views. I'm sure this was a great learning experience for all those who are with us live. I hope to chat with you soon. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you, Jumar. Thank you so much for your time and doing this. Appreciate it.
Bye.